So I feel like I want to say a little bit more about what it's taken to get Volition off the ground and where we are right now. It's been really, really hard. I mean, harder than anything I've ever done. And over my 30 years of work, you know, it's been quite a feast or famine kind of scenario for me. I've never had a big home run. I've had a ton of experience, but I've never had the big, home run yet. And I've had probably, I think I've lost everything about 5 times, maybe. That means going from having like a solid income, maybe a nice house established for a few years, and then the company that I'm involved in or running into trouble and failing or needing to contract, and then using all of the savings or money that we had to try and keep it afloat. And tied to that, I've carried business debt and obligations that I've chosen to stick with and not, abandon or somehow, write off because a business has failed. I've had over $2 million in obligations that I've committed to keep for like 16 years now, 17 years. And it's a heavy burden. It's a heavy burden for my wife. These are, like angel investors, private investors, friends and family investors that helped us during times when we thought a company would go well, and then it hasn't. There's a little reflection just on my walk. So the burden has been heavy for a long, long time, and I've just had a comfort, a peace, kind of an assurance that all these things are working together to come to something that's unique. And I think that is finally coming together in Volition. I haven't had really the luxury. People have said, why don't you go back and just get a job? You're an executive, you go get a good job somewhere. And I've done that, and that's obviously an option, but in a way it's not, because my obligations are so significant that if I took a job as a VP or a C level something somewhere, got a good income, I'd never make enough to meet all those obligations. So I've kind of I'm kind of in a place where I have to have a home run to make good on my obligations. I have to build an asset that I can eventually liquidate to make people who have trusted us whole, and shareholders whole. And that matters to me. I don't ever want to walk away from those commitments. And I've always wanted to be a part of building something substantial, leave a legacy, build a great American company. A lot of people have done it. I think with the right team, we can do that too. I've always believed that. So that's why I keep at it. The hard thing to admit is the reality of where things are right now and where they've been for the last year or so for me and Lisa and our family. Right now, we're 3 months behind on our mortgage. We've used every extra penny that we had to keep this business moving. I haven't been able to take real pay at all for the last 24 months, little bits here and there to kind of cover expenses and get things, as current as possible. It's been really hard on Lisa, and she's such a trooper. We have all our credit cards maxed out only on, needs. We have just a massive amount of obligations that we're doing everything we can to get this asset to liquidate so we can get whole on everything. And then I have the employees, which are 3 payroll behind, and they're such good people. So it's extreme. My car has been, both of our cars have been in jeopardy of repossession like 4 times in the last 8 months. I think right now our account has like $1,000, but it's usually been in the red. And our business account right now is negative $2,800, and we just had a check to one of our team members that's going to be returned because we had a rent bill that auto processed, and we didn't think that was going to happen. So I was wanting to document how extreme this is, because I think it matters. I do hear people sometimes talk about their stories, and they had to live in an apartment for a little bit, or I don't know. I don't want to compare, but this has been extreme for a while. I mean, and when you really look at the last 6 years, since like 2016, it's been the whole time. 17 has been extreme. We had a really beautiful home that we all loved in Capo Beach in 2016, 17, and we were renting it while we were waiting. And then my situation totally turned, and we got behind. And for the first time ever, it was really a humiliating thing. We got evicted from this home, like legally forced out, and left with an obligation, a rent obligation of like $18,000. At the time, we weren't living above our means. We had a really solid income. But then, because of a shareholder battle on the company I was running, Molecule, I had to resign because we couldn't come to an agreement. And that income immediately came to a stop, and those things just happen sometimes. So again, I don't want to compare, but I'm just trying to document that it's been extreme. And then in 18, we had to actually live with family for a few months. We lived with Lisa's brothers for a little bit. We lived at her parents' house for a little bit. We were, I guess, homeless, because we didn't have our own place to go, until we finally landed in Fallbrook in a really neat rental with a great family that gave us a great deal. That was in 2019. And then in 2020, after Lisa's mom passed away, we were thankful to be there to help with that, or to be there with her. Then it was, at that point is when we came over to Provo. That was 2020, and it's been a great move for us, and things are moving in a really amazing way, but in a really protracted time frame. We thought we were going to have our first round of capital for Volition and Energy in 2022, and now it's late 2024. I don't even know how we've made it through and signed up all these customers and made all this progress without really having anything but our seed round and investors who have kept us afloat, loaned us money, and supported us. I'm humbled and grateful. It feels like, and it looks like, we're close to finally getting real capital in, and I'm hopeful that will be the case, but we will just continue to work at it. And even when I'm here today alone, and I don't even really know on a day like this exactly what I should focus my time on, but what I do on a day like this is I just come in and do the best work that I can. I try and get ahead of things as much as I can, and I just try and do the best that I can. And that's all that I can do right now. We had a meeting with Love's family office last week, 2 days ago on Wednesday, with Jim Horton of Mountain VC and Russ. And we did an excellent job together. We did the best that we could, and we're now kind of waiting on their responses. We think they're very interested, but there's nothing we can do, at this point. We've done our very best, and all we can do now is wait and hope that we get a good response, and that they want to proceed finally, and that Mountain VC gets their capital, and we can all really finally get to work on these great projects that we have. We're doing something that could change the way energy is distributed. So we're on the right path. But someday when people look back and they hear about a company called Volition, maybe that goes public or that's large and doing well, we'll be able to share the history of how we almost didn't survive many times in these early years, and how we found a way to survive on crumbs, and people sacrifice their own income and their own job security to be here with us. I'm exhausted, but I'm thankful, and I have a peace that this is all going to materialize into something important. Not as important as our daily lives at home and as human beings, but as an important part of our lives as human beings, to create something that matters, and to be a place where people can excel and improve, and that we can have some little bit of a good impact, during our time, our lives, part of our purpose.